Okay, I'm going to walk you through some improvements I worked on over this weekend, as well as putting the Christmas lights up. Um, I was able to do a little bit more integration and more improvements on the EST32 base, domination base. So I'm now going to call it the utility box. Last Friday I was, thinking just, it would be nice if I could make this thing more functional like the utility box is for the Battle Light Pro set. So I went ahead and added some cool functions and features to it, and worked on it, off and on throughout the weekend. So here's the app again. I've added some tabs in the top. You can scroll through the tabs, select which tab you want to look at and function and mess around with. Here's the general tab. This is kind of the main general settings. If I'm gonna connect this to the base or something, right, I just got to click the Bluetooth, connect the BLE device, and it's kind of pop up with local BLE devices. I don't have my BLE device. Here, let me plug the base in so you can see it populate. I'll plug the base in now, and that's gonna see. Just get out of that. Okay, click on the Bluetooth, connect the LE, utility box 900. Right. So this is utility box 900. My recommendations are going to be naming them 900, 901, 902, 903, 904, 910, 9, whatever it is. So the code's set up to do about 10 of these currently if you wanted to. And so just right now, the first one will be box 900. So go ahead and connect that. It connects and it pairs. Good, connected. Boom. All right, now I can send all the functions and settings I want to that base. Now we're going to call this a smart base, ESP32 smart base, whatever you want to. So you need a lot more than just domination stations and stuff like that. So we're going to set it to operating mode as the first option. Okay. So I click on this. Let me put it in play mode. So domination. These are my options. These are my driveway. Domination standard or standalone. It's default. Okay. Domination master. What that is this is if I selected this mode, it would make this as the counter, the main device, and I could have slaves. Okay. So the master is the main scoring device and tells the other stations what to do. They're going to be enabled or disabled, and the master is going to count the score for multiple domination units. They can handle up to 10. Okay, bases total. So that's one master and 9 slaves. Right, so you can have up to 10 domination stations. So the idea is to be using these as more than just one functional unit in the system for your gameplay in the field. So then there's the slave mode, capture the flag mode. I haven't finished doing the coding for that. I have finished the master and slave as well as the default domination modes for tracking the score. So that's pretty cool, and you can get essentially score accumulation from multiple bases on the master to report it. And the master, once it hits the limit for the bases, on the total amount of time set default under the domination tab, it will make it to where all of the slaves deactivate as well as the master, and they stop accounting scores. Okay. I haven't built in an alarm or function. We could probably build something in later, and I will probably, because once I actually start using this, I'll find that I wanted to make do something, sound an alarm on guns, etc. in the area. Okay, so capture the flag as a game mode. I'm going to put into it, and that would be a 2-base game mode, where you have 1 base for each team, or if you have more teams, I guess it's really ideally a 2-team game. But and this is using LoRa, long distance transmissions, right? So it'll end up saying, okay, well, this is capture the flag base, and you change the settings for which team it is, and then it transmits the base and looks for the IR signal from the player on the other side of the field, the shot in the base. So you capture 1 base, get it over back to your home base, and shoot your base, and that's how you score points or win. Utility box, okay? This is using as an interactive game box. So I've got quite a few IR codes built into the code, or IR tags, and I've got to work a little bit more on integrating more of those, and I'll show you those. But essentially, it sets up. You set the base in that mode, and it's just going to send a bunch of transmit IRs based upon the settings on that. We'll go through that. Bomb squad. That's haven't developed the code for that yet. It's going to be after I finish a couple of the other ones, the utility box functions. But the plan for that is going to be that, okay, yeah, so you got to sit there and you got to shoot so many bombs, so many shots into the unit in order to activate the bomb, and then the other team can come back and deactivate it. It'll have a set counter in the options for that. Debug mode is just IR debugging. Okay, so I set that, and all it does is just IR debug, doesn't count points, doesn't lock out. You can just shoot as many times as you want, it tells you the data for the IR tag you're shooting. I'm using that just for functionality for my okay. So that's those modes. As you can see on the screen right here, on the bottom it has a game timer, and that's going to basically read out what the status is on the game. For example, the utility box is set to always be running the game timer. Now, in every single tab, I put the game timer present, so I'm constantly seeing it. Right, you see the counter clock. The clock is counting up. Right, if I'm playing Capture the Flag, game timer is up there. It's showing it in every single tab. So no matter what game I'm playing, I can always track the score, what the time is of the game. Now, if it's in utility box mode, right, that is constantly running. But if it's in domination mode, it does not run. You can see how the clock stops. That's because domination mode is based upon whether the game is in play, somebody has a base or not. So it's pretty intricate on how it's programmed to work. And a good user manual will be really helpful, I think, whenever I get this finalized. All right, so that's that. Just going over the and then tag type, team, damage, player, critical power. That's all IR outputs from the infrared that comes in. I noticed my calculations were bad on the damage. I got to fix that. But, a couple little bugs here. All right, nomination tab. This is all the same, I think, that I showed already previously on another video. We can sit here and just reset the score, clear everything out. It does everything, right? I don't have it. The timer got reset, but for some reason I didn't add to update the timer on the app, which I will have to add that into another bug. Little things, here or there. In game, right? Stop in game, in game reset. It's all the same as I talked about before. Scoring method is input. We already went over this before. Time to score to win. Already did this. Game time limit for first capture. This is essentially doing the game clock setting. Okay, and then just the tracking of the scores are down below. Capture the flag, okay, team alignment. So whichever base you're going to set up, you're going to pair your Bluetooth to that base, select the Bluetooth module. Imagine on the box or on the base that you're creating for it, building for it, you have an identifier for what base it is, 900, 901, 902, 903, etc. Okay, and so you choose and set whatever defaults you want to do with that for team alignment. And then points to win, however many flag captures you want to win, which means one player has to go to the end of the field, shoot that base, get back over to their base, and shoot into their base and be able to make that point score. Here's the utility box. Okay, utility box is pretty cool. Spent a lot of time on this weekend. Most of the time I was doing. So team alignment, you choose if you're going to be for all of them, and that would be like a tag dependent default. So whoever shoots the base essentially gets the features and benefits from that base for whatever the programming is set for. Okay. Now we go into determining what that is in a second. Now I can set it for just red or alpha or free for all, Nexus, yellow, Vanguard, or green, whatever. Okay, so you can set it whatever team you want, and then it will just continue to emit the code that you put it on. Right. Now it gets tricky, right? So if it's on all/tag dependent, right, it's only based upon somebody shooting into the IR base. And so you're going to have to shoot into the IR sensor, and then with an IR LED attached to port pin 17, I think I set it for, on the ESP32, you're able to receive IR benefits or perks from that box, or from the base. Right? So let's see what those benefits and perks are. So and that's where it says function, what it does on the next tab. The next menu says function. It can be a respawn, a medic, armor station, shield, star power. When I say star power, I'm a big fan of like old school Mario, right? So, when you get the stars, you get superpowers. So this is essentially just the regeneration and rapid fire perk that you would get off of a grenade whenever you capture the base on what's it called, King of the Hill, right? For the grenade modes. So that emits the signal that gives you essentially just faster auto fire and faster regeneration and things like that. Ammo replenishing, and that's if you're using the configurator. This would be the IR code that enables you to replace a bunch of your ammunition or fill it up. Randomized weapon pickup. So again, configurator mode. So if you're using a configurator, this will allow you to pick up a random new weapon. proximity mine, that's just essentially a grenade. So you can set this so it periodically it just kills people who walk by it. Security alarm. So you set this in an area you want to, and it just whenever a player walks by it, it just makes their equipment go bam, 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 really loud. And tear gas, yeah, they gag, they can't fire, and all that stuff. Right. So those are the options for the base for the settings. You can set it to wherever you want to. Now we're going to go into the availability. Okay, so function availability. This is essentially a respawn availability for it. So it's only able to come out and come back to you after after so many seconds. So for example, if you have it on configurator mode on random weapon pickups, right? You can set it to where you can only get a random weapon out of that base every 15, 30, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 3 minutes, right? So essentially the same as like if you play old school GoldenEye or any other games where weapons disappear and they respawn later. Many multiplayer online video games, whatever they are. You know, I'm not a big video game guy, but I used to play Bond, and so yeah, that's how you would set that to how often you want it to be able to be functional for you. For example, let's say you're going to use it for a respawn station that you have to use it as an IR tag. You have to use the headset, pull the trigger, and use the headset to trigger the respawn code. Then you can make it to where you can only have somebody respawn every 10 seconds. 15 seconds. Okay. Activation. How you activate the base, right? So it's going to be tag or button default. I don't have a button for it, but I'm sure somebody wants to put a button on it, they can. I haven't done that yet, but I have it based on IR, right? So if you shoot it or anything, you headset, respawn request, etc., it'll trigger it to do whatever the function is that we set it to: respawn, ammo, medic, etc. Auto every 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds, it respawns a player, or it respawns everybody around it, or every 10 seconds, 15 seconds, or it puts out a health medic thing. So it's just an automatic medic station. You walk by it, and every 15 seconds, it gives people health for standing around it. Okay, so that's that. And then there is activation limit. How many times you can do it? Okay, this is awesome. Okay, this is one of the things I've always wanted from the VRX system, is playing a multiplayer battle royale or deathmatch game where you have to respawn from a base, but the entire team is limited on respawns. Okay, so let's say, for example, you're using it as tag and default, so somebody has to go up there and press a button to respawn. I can limit that team to having a maximum of 30 lives or 30 respawns. So you got teams of 5, for example, 2 teams of 5, 1 red, 1 blue, okay, and you have two respawn stations at the end of the field. This way, you come over and press the button to respawn, you can only press that button 30 times. So this is, I think it's pretty cool. It's a limitation for offline games without using configurator or anything like that. Just a cool, nice respawn limitation thing in settings. And you can do that however you wanted to. I can do this as a scroll bar too, to where you go 1 to 100, 1 to 1,000, or whatever. I don't know, maybe give me some feedback on your thoughts on that, but I just had some preset numbers. Maybe 50 and 25 would be better numbers instead of like 30 and 60. But that was just kind of the thought. So, yeah, and then it could be the same for medic healings and all those different things and options there. All right, so that's pretty much it. Bomb Squad's not developed yet, so nothing to really look at on that tab, obviously, except for I got the game timer at the bottom.